Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. Some of you may know me and you've watched my previous videos. If you're new here, my name is Megan. I am expecting my first baby and I am currently 24 weeks and 6 days. I'm 25 weeks tomorrow. If you wanted to go and watch the previous two videos I filmed, I'll leave the links down below. That'll be my announcement video and my 12 to 16 week update. Now this video is going to be quite a big update just because I haven't managed to film. So I just want to first off saying sorry that I haven't posted anything in a while, and also that this is quite a large update, quite a big chunk. This is just because things have just been really quite busy, and on top of that just been kind of enjoying life and enjoying my pregnancy, and I just haven't really found the opportunity to film a video. I go to film it and then something else needs doing, or we've got plans a whole weekend and I'm just kind of drained and I want to film a video. I do work full-time Monday to Friday, so it is quite difficult for me sometimes to find the time to film. I'm going to do an update from 16 weeks to 25 weeks, so quite a big update, just because I'm 25 weeks tomorrow, so I thought I'd do 16 to 25 just to get us all up to date, and then hopefully I'll be a bit more on track. I'm just going to start off by saying, kind of giving an overall of how, because basically the 16 to 25 weeks has basically been the majority of my second trimester. So I thought I'll give just like an overview of like how the second trimester has been. I can assure you it has been loads better than my first trimester. My first trimester, as you know, was quite difficult. I had hyperemesis. I just suffered quite a bit, but definitely I think when I filmed the last video I was starting to feel better, like I was starting to feel so much better, but even from then I feel even more throughout these like nearly 10 weeks. I felt definitely like pretty much back to my normal. Everything just seems to be pretty normal. There are symptoms which I'll get onto in a minute, but I think when I filmed my last video I mentioned that I had headaches, like really bad headaches. Now they continued till about 17 weeks, 18 weeks maybe, so they continued till about then, and then they stopped. So I had them for about a month overall, I think. So I'm so happy they went away. They haven't come back, touch wood. But the only thing that my midwife said at my 16-week appointment was that just to keep an eye on the headaches, because it could be a symptom of preeclampsia when you go past 20 weeks. So I've had a few headaches like here and there, but definitely not to the extent which I had them before, which is what I'm looking out for, so that's fine. Overall, second trimester has been a pretty good one. Definitely felt like I'm really enjoying this pregnancy, and maybe that's why I haven't picked up my phone and filmed, because I'm just sort of engrossed in it really, and just enjoying every moment of it. But before I go on to my symptoms from 16 weeks to 25 weeks to now, I forgot to put the clip, because we had our 16-week appointment with our midwife and she did the heartbeat, so I thought I'll just put that clip in here. Heartbeat was like I think 154 or 156, something around that. So a good solid strong heartbeat, which we are super happy with. I'm obviously going to show you my bump at the end, but I thought I'll enter a few pictures here in the video, just to let you know like how my progress has been throughout my second trimester. it's just mental to see how much I'm growing. And obviously I don't film these very often, so it's probably helpful for you to see like a couple of weeks apart and see how much I actually am growing. So going on to symptoms, I have written them down just because there's a few I wrote down like ages ago and I wouldn't have remembered if I just like just sat down and thought about it, because I probably would forget things, which I probably still will forget things that I've experienced. Symptoms wise, okay, so my hair has definitely got thicker, as you can tell. I got rid of the blonde just because, and safely, by the way, before I have anyone come at me. And also, your hair does tend to, not everyone, but some people's hair does tend to get thicker and a lot more like, which mine definitely has, and my hair's already thick as it is. So, getting a good shampoo and conditioner to make sure it's like on point is definitely good. I recommend Lush, 100% Lush. Yes. Talking about hair, this was a really weird and very common symptom actually that I experienced, and that was that I have a hairy belly. You heard it right. Yeah, very strange. As I was taking like my bath, I would like notice every time I took a bath it just seemed to get darker and darker. Like I've always had a little bit of a peach fuzz down there, and I think, you know, every woman has a bit of peach fuzz going on their like belly, but this was just like dark. My body hair is really, apart from my leg hair where I've, you know, shaved it over the years, my body hair is quite fair, quite light, and so I was just a bit confused. It might be a bit darker now, hopefully not too dark, but just because the sun was blinding. My skin has definitely gotten better. My skin in the first trimester was just awful. It's definitely gotten better, it's definitely calmed down a lot. I still do get spots, but I think that's just me because I got spots before anyway. So yeah, skin's definitely better. The only thing I would say that's a bit weird is that I don't know if this is because my skin is stretching, but it's like in between my boobs, like where your sternum is, like in between, like kind of like in your cleavage area, my skin gets really dry and really tight and uncomfortable sometimes, and it's really, really bizarre. And I don't know if that's just skin stretching, it probably is. That's another weird skin thing I've got. And also talking about boobs, like going on to the topic of that, they've grown a lot. I got a maternity bra which is helping, but it doesn't really do much for me. So sometimes if I'm going out I will wear like my normal bra, even though it does not fit, but it does a lot more for me than this maternity bra does. But yes, definitely growing, probably still growing. That's but they kind of look weird as well, and I think because where they've grown they just kind of, well, they're heavier, so they're not up and perky like they used to, let's just say that. That's probably the one of the biggest insecurities I probably have in this pregnancy is my boobs, because they've definitely changed a lot. So yeah, expect that. Some people love what pregnancy does to their boobs, and that's great. But for me, I already had quite large boobs, so for me, getting bigger boobs wasn't doing me any favours. It just made them not as perky. So other symptoms I've had is at night when I'm sleeping, I've started to get the uncomfortableness, and occasionally when I'm trying to get to sleep. I do have a pregnancy pillow which helps to an extent, but where the baby is growing, it just seems like every week goes by it gets more uncomfortable because he's taken up space in there, and sometimes he's in a weird position, and yeah, if the baby's in a weird position then it just, like in my hip or in my ribs. The baby's 35 centimetres this week and 1.5 pounds. Most of the time it's fine. I'm counting my blessings at the moment because at the moment it's not been so bad. but every now and again I will get a day. The other one that's been quite prevalent in the last couple of weeks especially is breathing. So it's not, I don't know, a lot of people say, oh, I get out of breath when I breathe, you know, when I breathe. I get out of breath when I talk, and that is quite common, and I do occasionally get that. But for me, I suddenly like get a tight chest and I can't breathe, and it's out of nowhere. Like, I'm not talking, I'm not walking anywhere, I'm not doing anything, I'm literally just sitting there, and it will come out of nowhere. And it is something I'm going to talk to my doctor about tomorrow, because I have an appointment tomorrow. But it's just quite scary, and I don't know whether or not I'm having panic attacks, or whether I can't breathe and then I panic and then I have a panic attack, and then it makes it worse, because I get to the point where I'm like, I can't breathe. I literally can't breathe, and I'm trying to do my deep breathing and it's just not doing anything. My chest hurts, and then I start to feel dizzy and I feel sick, and sometimes throw up because I feel so sort of out of touch that I can't breathe. So that's definitely a symptom in the last couple of weeks especially, which I am going to talk to my doctor about. So I will probably give an update on that on my next bump date. I know that shortness of breath is normal, but for me it feels very like trivial, and that something bad is happening. So maybe it's not just breathing, maybe it is anxiety as well, who knows. The next thing I wanted to go on to before I showed you my pictures from my last scan, and I'll go into how my last scan went and everything like that as well, was what I'm using at the moment on my bump to try and not get, or try and reduce the appearance of stretch marks. Okay, so I use the Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula Massage Lotion for stretch marks, and it's even got a pregnant lady on the front. So I use that one night, and then the next night I will use your bog standard bio oil. Now I don't get actual bio oil because it's really expensive. I get the Superdrug own bio oil. Basically, it is literally the same thing, does the same thing, but it's cheaper. It's like half the price, so I'm gonna get that. But yeah, so one night I'll use this, and then the next night I'll use this, and I'll just swap. So you get a bit of moisturising as well as the oil that helps with the stretch marks. I do have I don't have any stretch marks on my bump yet, but I do have them on my boobs, which I told you about in the last video, I'm pretty sure. If not, I have some on my boobs, and then I have, I think, a couple each side on my hips, but very small ones. They're not big long ones, but I already had some on my hips anyway, so I know I'm quite susceptible in that area. So it might be that I might get more in that area as I get bigger, because I know your hips grow quite a lot during pregnancy. So hoping for the best with the belly, that I don't get any. I'm just going to go on to my ultrasound. So my ultrasound I had at 20 weeks. We had ours, I think 19 weeks and 5 days. Yeah, 19 weeks and 5 days we had ours, because we had it the Saturday before I turned 20 weeks. We definitely wanted to find out the gender because, well, I'm impatient and I wanted to just find out. I feel like I'm giving off the clue today with my top. So we found out that we were having a boy, which I kind of had like an instinct that I was having a boy anyway. So I was pretty much like, yeah, I knew it. Yeah, it was crazy because she hadn't even, so she said, oh, do you want to know the gender? And we said yes. And before she could even say, oh, it's a boy, I said it's a boy, because I could just see it on the screen. And then they obviously just did all, because it's quite a long scan, because they do quite a lot of checks in the 20-week scan, because it's the abnormality scan. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So it's just a long scan, which is nice because we get to see him all jiggling around, and he was jiggling like no other as well. And we've got a few pictures. I don't know if you can see them because they're not the best pictures because he was moving so much. But there's a few pictures there. So you got one of his hand, and it's got a foot there, and his profile as well. Yes. So yeah, the scan was all fine. The results, she said that he was measuring average, so most of his percentiles were at like 50%, so that's good. So he's not too big, he's not too small, which is fab. Everything just, yeah, everything was normal, which is really nice to hear. My placenta is at the back and at the top, so that's always really good as well, because you've got no risk there of anything happening, and also you can definitely feel the baby more as he begins to kick. So definitely really happy with that scan. I was just going to go on to talk about movements. Okay, so when last time I filmed, I hadn't felt anything at all. The first time I felt a proper movement was at, I think, 19 weeks. So I think I felt like little butterflies before then, but I didn't know what I was looking for because this is my first. I didn't know what it was or what it may have been. So I might have potentially, like the week before I actually felt it, might have had, you know, a few bubbles and butterfly feelings, but I don't know because, again, I don't know what I was looking for. One night I got out the bath and I just laid on the bed and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here for a bit, I'm gonna play some music, and I'm just gonna see whether or not I can feel something, because a lot of people I knew had already felt something and I felt left out because I was 19 weeks and I hadn't yet. So I just really concentrated. So I basically felt him roll over in my tummy, and there was a few like prods, and it was amazing. And everyone always asks, how does it feel for your baby to kick? And I could never explain it because it's just crazy. So yeah, 19 weeks was the first time I felt him, but from about, as each week went by, they would get more regular, they would get harder. But I feel like I definitely feel him every day, and like quite a lot during the day, probably from about 2 weeks ago, 3 maybe, like 22 to 23 weeks is when it started sort of being every day. I definitely feel like he has a pattern now. We have had a few scares where he hasn't moved for a whole day, and that was literally last week, and that was very scary, but he was fine. I think they said to me, try not to worry too much, but obviously come if you have an instinct and that he hasn't moved for a day, please come in, because they, you know, they want us to come in when we haven't felt a movement, which, you know, I'm fine. If I need to go all the way to hospital because he's not moving, I'm fine with that, because I would rather make sure he's okay and you know, and everything's fine. That's pretty much like all I have to say, to be honest, on this update. There's not really much else for me to report on apart from showing you my bump, which is crazy, by the way. As you can see, I'm a lot bigger, and I'll just pop you down as well. Until my next one, which I won't leave so long this time, I'll probably do like a 25 to 29 or something like that, and like a 5-weeker one rather than a 10-weeker one. And I will see you in that one, or I'll see you in one, I'll see you in another video that I film. Please, I have actually gained, like, I know this sounds really silly, since I put my last video up, I gained about like 15 subscribers, which to a lot of people is not a lot, but you know, I had none, and I've gained, you know, like 15 of you, so that's really reassuring that, you know, some people like these videos. So if you want to see more pregnancy updates and things like that, click the subscribe button down below, and you can also follow me on my Instagram, where I post quite a lot of baby updates, so that's more like in real time, and I post quite a lot of pictures and updates and stuff like that on there. Yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.